actually financial updates, legal reporting, political news. But that is where we are right now. And so I went and looked up 2014, the biggest story coming out of SEC spring meetings, new rules about the cowbells. That is not where we are right now, I can promise you. Let's welcome on a man who was down there in Destin. It is a wildly different SEC meetings than what we used to obsess about. From Fox and Outkick, National College Sports Reporter, it is Trey Wallace. Trey, welcome back, buddy. How you doing?
It is. It's good to join you, man. It is. It's a fascinating time where we're at in college athletics, where I spend more talking about laws and legal jargon and house settlements compared to what is coming up this season.
Yeah, and I've said the reason we don't get this in the NFL is because all their processes have long ago been instituted. Like in college football, we've argued the last 45 years about should we have a playoff or not. And so all of that stuff was done decades ago in the NFL, and so that's why they're in a different place as far as the conversation. Let's talk about what's going on right now. I have used a broad brush, drill down on this some. I have said in general, coaches like the 8-game model, ADs like a more plannable, guaranteed financial future. They like 9 games and guaranteed spots, where coaches want it to be the Hunger Games with no guaranteed anything. Go get all the at-large bids you can.
Yeah, that's the fascinating part is there is a disconnect, in my opinion, between what's going on in the coaches' minds and what's going on in the athletic director's minds. They look at this thing and they see, okay, well, why don't we just stick with what we got with 8 games in the conference, and then we can just fight our way into the playoffs. And then, Lane Kiffin, by the way, says, you know what, it just should be the 16 best teams in college football. Maybe we shouldn't worry about automatic qualifiers. Kirby says something different. And then, we get somebody like Scott Strickland, the AD at Florida, comes out and says, we really don't need a committee to handle all of this. It's fascinating where we are at right now, Chuck, when it comes to, I think that the coaches now have all gotten together in their little quiet times and spoken about, okay, look, let's find the most difficult route to go forward. Screw what the athletic directors are thinking. When it comes to the money, the guaranteed money, and the automatic bids. And I think we end up, in the spot where each conference is going to get their automatic qualifier now. The biggest thing is how many. And at the end of the day, do the coaches get their way and the athletic directors get their way? And I think you know how that's going to play out. Money is always going to win in this situation. And if anybody out there is talking about how this doesn't involve money and this is all about the good of the game, I've got oceanfront property in Kentucky that I would love to sell you.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Last year, week 1, LSU basically has chosen a 9th conference game the past few seasons. Everybody, Missouri played Murray State, Arkansas played Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's the difference between having a guaranteed 9th conference game as far as the coaches are concerned. They're like, give me more Furman, give me less SEC matchups. So it is completely opposite opinions. Let me ask you about the third man in the ring, the commissioner, because he seems to have hinted yesterday. I'll show you 2 of my cards, and he may be in favor of the 11 at-large bid model.
He is, and well, let me rephrase that. I don't know if he is, or much less Greg Sankey is just trying to present a multitude of ideas and seeing which one sticks. Yep. Yes, exactly. That to me yesterday, when Greg Sankey was talking about that last night and trying to introduce that or discuss that with his coaches, I think he was trying to appease the crowd by talking about that. Let's be honest. Look at all the money that's on the table, Chuck. You honestly think that they're going to walk away from something like that? To me, also by talking about that last night, okay, well, it gets us to talk about it. So now you got folks from the ACC and the Big 12 that think, wait a minute, the SEC might be changing their tune. Okay, are we really going to believe something like that? I don't. So, again, we're now at a point where, okay, what's real and what's not real? And I think it's somewhere in the middle where I think that whole 11 at large or whatever you want to call it that they are, I think that's more of a let's just appease the folks out there. Let's just discuss it, and then we're going to go back and get all of our automatic bids.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Kirby, who I thought he was the most transparent guy there. I think this is almost a direct quote. I want the plan where we get the most teams. I was like, God bless you, Kirby. At least he was telling the truth. All right, tell me if
and it might be, I didn't mean to cut you off. It might be something where you have 11 at-large teams, and that's how you get the most in there, to be honest with you. So, he's not wrong, too.
Oh, no, and that's the fiber of every competitor is, oh, by God, if you just give us a chance, we'll get in. I mean, that's what just get me in the room with the recruit and I can sign the kid. Every coach thinks if I just get the shot, we'll cash in on this. Tell me if, by your estimation, this is also true, that the Big Ten, this is just a broad brush, They are firmly in favor of the guaranteed spots, and so that's kind of their presentation right now. That's their one. Is that your understanding as well?
That is my understanding. Come out of their meetings last week out in California. They are in favor of. Get in front of each other. Not going to be on a Zoom. The December 1st with a plan of the future of the college football playoff. I would look at that June 18th day as very, very important for the future of the sport. So, yeah, you got the Big Ten that's in agreement with the SEC. And again, right now, Big 12 meetings are going on in Orlando. So I am curious to see what Brett Yormark has to say coming out of that one, especially with a little pot shot that Greg Sankey took the other night.
Oh, run along, child. I remember when you used to stay in the car. Like, that's basically what he said to Jim Phillips.
Absolutely. Kick rocks.
So, Trey, we're going to have you on again, and I swear, we will talk about Ty Simpson and DJ Lagway at some point, but that's going to have to be later. Portal, okay. I learned long ago that when Nick Saban's griping about something that's bad for the sport or bad for the players, it's actually because it's bad for him. Yep. I give all the coaches a pass now. Any gripe from Dabo or Kirby about, wait a minute, the portal and recruiting and all this just opened, and I have a championship game in 72 hours. I call that a disadvantage. Talk portal calendar. Actually, talk portal quantity. How many portals and where on the calendar? Because I agree with the coaches.
Fandom, but they're trying to prepare for a semifinal or a national championship. And sure, they've got departments that can handle it, but look, you don't have your position coaches or your head coach worrying about it, and that's why you see a lot of teams doing general managers. But portal-wise, I think we're going to end up with something where this thing happens towards the middle of January for about a 10-day period. What the biggest thing and what these coaches do not want is for them to come back and say, okay, look, we're going to give you 2 portal periods, but we're going to move the spring one back to later in April, and then we're going to keep the winter one. It's like, no. And Kirby kind of made a point yesterday where, he'd like to know what his roster looks like.
See, I can hear it through here. Well, I could hear it.
Yep, I got it,
And then it went away.
Also take some of the money with them. So I think that when it comes down to it, and they made this point too yesterday, not like the coaches can make the decision on this portal. They
as
can
I'm
get their
talking right now, there
this
is no
going
echo,
to come
right?
down to when this new
you're not hearing an echo at all.
college sports commission that's going to come from the House settlement, whenever that gets put into place, then we can start talking about transfer portal rules. But they're not going to make any changes. With the settlement looming, whether it's approved or denied, and then you got the fact that the NCAA is losing some power once again. So I think the best thing